Hi guys, welcome back to the Mental Wealth Podcast. We are excited that you are joining us for yet another episode. Derek, what episode is this?
Episode 15.
Episode 15. Imagine guys, we are at episode 15 and we thank you so much for your support so far. Yeah, of course you know our names. My name is Lillian.
And I'm your main man, Derek Masaba Were.
So the man behind everything.
MBE, East and Central Africa.
Okay, Derek. We've had, I would say, heavy topics for the last 2 episodes, right?
Yes.
And right now we just wanted to keep things a bit light, and we are just talking about what everybody knows or has heard of at least. We want to talk about personalities and how what these personalities mean for us and how they influence our behaviors in relationships, at work, friendships, or whatever it is that we are doing. So yeah, Derek.
Yeah.
What is personality? What do you understand by the word personality?
Well, personality, according to me, these are behaviors or attitudes that we have acquired either biologically or because of particular values of a place where we have grown up, or the factors that influence us. So yeah, sometimes the biological factors might overrule others, but also the values that we acquire play a crucial part in it.
Okay, I think that is it's a pretty much straightforward definition of personalities. So somebody might ask, how do I know my personality?
In most occasions, people try out personality test. There are several sites online that you can try out your personality test, but there are things that are very basic. For example, knowing whether you are introverted or extroverted, you can easily tell by yourself. Do you easily make friends with strangers? Do you enjoy small talks? Those in line with that. So the basic things that you can tell whether you are, as I've said, introverted or extroverted, by just knowing whether these are things you like or you struggle. Though I know some people sometimes find it hard to know whether they're introverted or extroverted.
That's true. It's sometimes you find yourself having extroverted characteristics, yet you identify as an introvert, or having introverted characteristics, yet you identify as an extrovert. You had started to explain to us, and you were calling it basic. And you know, some of these things might not be basic. So what are some of these characteristics that identify with introverts? Being an introvert, introverts, they don't like small talks. You know, the way I can meet you abruptly on the road, and then I pick from a very small conversation, I start a very lengthy, and we can still talk about small things and I will still feel comfortable. An introvert doesn't enjoy small talks. They enjoy conversations that they're easily thrived in it, and then they easily enjoy it and they love it. For introverts to say hi, how are you, it feels like boring. It feels like you're draining their energy. Introverts, they don't love attention, at least from what I know, especially the limelight. Most of the time they enjoy being in their own world, and in many occasions, whenever they are part of a conversation or part of a group, they will rather reserve their comments. However, to make things clear, if you're an introvert, it doesn't mean you don't talk. Introverts can talk at length, especially when they find crowds they're very comfortable with. An extrovert will talk anywhere, regardless. It is not a matter of them finding a comfortable environment. They will talk. It is at times you to stop them from talking. They will meet a stranger today and all of a sudden they're best of friends. An introvert takes time before they build connections, friendships, and it takes a while. Extroverts, whenever they're part of big conversations, they feel drained most of the time. They lose their energy when they are part of a bigger team, and sometimes to be able to recharge, they try to isolate themselves from the public. So extroverts or introverts?
Introverts. Okay. Though there are also extroverts who recharge away from the public, what we call solitude and acquired time where you are recharging. But there are also extroverts who feel like they recharge when they have people around them. They generally recharge.
from what I know, most of the extroverts get their energy from people.
Yeah.
Like from just being with people, hangouts, sherehe, whatever, but where people are, it's where they thrive, it's where they get their energy from. Like they feel most alive in spaces like that, but for introverts it's the opposite.
Yeah.
When they spend a little time with people like that, they need to go by themselves and now recharge because people drain them. Yeah.
Speaking about introverts again, I recall an instance with my friend. At one point she invited me to a place, and I go there and there was a party kind of a thing happening at a place. I remember dropping what I had to drop to her, and then I told her I cannot come in. I'll just go home. Because the whole time I was going to talk to her, I was finding it so weird, so strange to be in a world where everybody is a stranger. How do I don't feel like I want to connect, to bond with them. For an introvert, you look at a person and then you look like, what are the kind of topics they'll easily love or they can easily trigger you with. So if you realize all that and then you're like, they don't click, then you easily shut. And you'll mostly find introverts, of course nowadays everybody loves to be on their phone, but an introvert, especially where there are new people who they've not met before, they will use their phone to hide from being on the spotlight most of the time. So introverts struggle a lot in the public, but let me put it straight, it doesn't mean if you're an introvert you cannot address many people. For example, personally, I can easily address 500, 1,000 people, but addressing one individual becomes difficult. Addressing an individual at a go becomes so difficult. So let us not assume that introverts don't perform the task. They perform the task. In fact, there are so many introverts who execute with so much commitment, and passion. You're giving them their space to do what they're supposed to do, but don't give them tasks where they're required to be around so many people all the time. They will easily be drained, and in the long run, they will feel like that is not the right place for them to work.
Okay. I think I just want to add on what you've said. You see, for introverts, like for extroverts, when they are going to places where they're meeting people, it doesn't matter whether it's people they know or don't know, they will be excited. But for an introvert, you'll have to think about a lot of things, including a getaway plan, how you're going to excuse yourself from the situation.
Yes, so at times, before you attend an event, the first thing is, who is coming?
Yeah, who's coming?
Who's coming?
There?
Who is there?
How long is this event?
Yeah.
Where is it? You ask so many questions to try and see if this is something that will work for you. And also just to think about how you will excuse yourself to ensure you leave early. But I want to put a disclaimer right now that there is no personality that is better than others. All personalities, whether introverted, extroverted, and everything in between, has its own strengths and weaknesses. Most of the time, growing up as I am an introvert, I identify as an introvert. Most of my characteristics are
quite strange.
Not strange, but yeah, you get it. And I remember growing up as a child and being like silent and quiet, and you're told, "Ay, mbona unanyamaza? You should talk more. Like talk more, get out more, play more." And you're almost made to feel like there's something wrong with you. And this happens mostly to introverts.
Yeah.
We never hear anyone telling extroverts to shut up.
Yeah.
But we hear people telling introverts to talk more.
In fact, there's a statement or a phrase people are fond of saying that quiet people are very bad people. Mm-hmm. You don't know what they're planning. They can easily kill you. And they relate that term with introverts. And that is.
I think that's inaccurate because when I'm quiet, it doesn't mean that I'm planning.
Yeah.
I am just existing the way you're existing in your talking. So it doesn't, me being quiet doesn't mean I'm planning anything. It's just that maybe you might not know what is in my mind.
Yes.
But to equate whatever is in my mind automatically to something negative, I feel is unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now with that we've already identified as introverts, what are some of challenges that you have faced? Like, are you happy as an introvert?
Well, I'm happy, though most of the time introverts are not happy for some reason. For example, being an introvert in a world where we say you can easily grow through making friendships, networking, and all that, becomes a disadvantage to an introvert. For an introvert to network, they have to prove their worth through their work. Though other ways you can prove your worth or you can create networking can be courtesy of social media, which has brought things to be a bit better. But I think I enjoy myself. I enjoy everything being an introverted for the fact that it gives me the power to decide where I want to go, who I want to talk to, who I want to call. I don't just do random calls. For me, I am very specific and very objective. If I talk to this person, are they going to drain my energy? Because I know people drain. For introverts, they drain. So the introverts can easily control what they want. So if you're an introvert, I enjoy my space more than on a weekly basis. I can say 70% of the time I'm always alone. The other 30%, at least I get good moments with other people. Yeah.
For me, I like being an introvert, but it also has its challenges. I like the fact that I can be alone and I'm just fine. Like I don't have, how do I explain it? But yeah, I'm just alone and it's fine. The other thing I like is introverts are thinkers, and I really like the fact that I get to be a thinker. But what I don't like is when now you become an overthinker. But I like the fact that I am a thinker as an introvert. The challenge that I face is some of the work that I do requires me to really be in the midst of a lot of people, and sometimes you find it hard to fit in, because you won't be into small talk, you won't be into a lot of things. You just want to be alone, but at the same time, you're with people, so you have to blend in, network, and things like that. I remember there's a time a group of people was brought together. We were brought together to do something, and I remember feeling like almost everyone knew each other, but nobody knew each other. It's just that they were able to bond quickly than I could. And I remember feeling, Kwani, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
So those are some of the challenges. But other than that, I like being an introvert, but I also like extroverts because they really complement us as introverts. Because imagine if all of us were just the same. It will be chaotic.
Yeah, it will be chaotic. Of course, there are extroverts that I am compatible with. I can't say all extroverts I'm compatible with them. So I'm very specific and particular with the kind
So what type
of
extrovert are you?
I think we'll discuss when we talk about temperaments. So it would be easier for our listeners to at least understand, because there are different types of extroverts, the same as there are different types of introverts. Those who are intuitive, there are those who are very judgy. They learn a lot through perceiving. Like I think I learn a lot through observation. Like I can take my time to just observe things. There are extroverts or rather introverts who take time to make their decisions. They can even take forever or sometimes they find it difficult to make immediate decisions. And there are extroverts who, in a click of time, they have just decided what they're going to do next, regardless of the outcome, whether it's going to be the right thing or the wrong thing. They are very quick,
I think I admire that. I admire that about extroverts. Like they are very decisive.
Very decisive.
Yeah.
And what else? Introverts at times, they don't do a particular thing, and then by the fact that they didn't do it, when they go home or they are in a quiet place, they start thinking about it. I should have done this. I should have said more and more of this.
I should have said less.
I should have said less. You feel like you should go back to
the situation,
and respond better, or act aggressively, and all that. So I believe extroverts also really admire introverts. They're like, I have met extroverts who tell me, I just want to be quiet. I think I talk too much. And I'm like, no, you're trying to run out of yourself. If you keep quiet, you'll run mad, you'll be sick. That is not you. Don't force yourself to be somebody else. Just learn how to capitalize on it and enjoy your life the way it is. Don't force to be an introvert. Don't force to be an extrovert. As you've said, both have a good side and bad side, and both are okay. There's none that is better than the other.
So if you have kids or if you're in charge of kids, please don't tell them to either keep quiet or talk more or whatever it is that people tell people, because they're perceiving them as being, for example, quiet. I think quiet people are like made to feel like there's something wrong with them. There is nothing wrong with you being quiet. And
there's a big difference between a shy person and an introvert. You can be an extrovert and you're very shy. You can be extroverted and you have confidence issues. You can be introverted and you're super confident with yourself. So I sometimes see people think that shy people are introverted. They think confident people are naturally extroverted, and that is not the case. It goes beyond that, because you can be an introvert and you are a good public speaker, and you do your work perfectly well because you're confident with yourself and what you do. Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about introversion and extroversion, but there's also like the temperaments that we know about. There's also the famous test, the 16 personalities that I think most people have done to determine the exact personality. It gives you details. It gives you details about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses in different areas, actually, in relationships, at work, in friendships. Yeah, things like that. So I want us to talk about like the 4 temperaments.
Yeah.
And we know there's the sanguine, there's the choleric, the melancholic, and phlegmatic.
Yeah.
All these are also, in the end, they also just lean towards either introversion or extroversion.
Yeah.
But I want us to just give a few characteristics to our listeners so that they can also know who is a sanguine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's begin with sanguine. I think sanguine is the most known. So a sanguine, sisi mi huwaita watu wa sherehe. People who love entertainment.
Yeah.
People who are watu wanapenda kutoka.
Yeah. They're very outgoing.
Yes, they're very outgoing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very lively, optimistic, carefree.
And they easily say what they feel. They don't hold on. There are people who, if they're angry with you, they tell you they're angry. So those are sanguines, at least according to what I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They love entertainment.
They love.
Underline the word entertainment.
Underline the word entertainment. If you're a sanguine, you enjoy entertainment. Hao ni wale watu wenye utawaambia tu by the way kuna sherehe.
Nitolee form.
In 10 minutes wameshavaa viatu.
Wapi? Sherehe iko wapi?
They have joined the bandwagon, and we should actually sanguines fall in the category of extroversion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so if you are a sanguine, you fall in the category of extroversion. However, you can have a personality that is both in the extroversion and introversion.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can be introverted, but you love. Kama unapenda sherehe na when introverted, it means there's another temperament, which I'm going to say we're going to talk about right now, that rhymes with sanguine personality, or rather type. So those are sanguines. Some people say they can be very great parents because they love to have fun. So if you are somebody who loves fun, probably your father or your mother is a sanguine. As you've said, they're party doers. They easily attract others and they easily make friends. They're charismatic.
They're like the life of the party.
Yeah. And then I understand they hate boring jobs. They hate routine jobs where you just have to wake up, report this time, go back home, wake up.
So they love a little bit of spontaneity.
Yeah, they love spontaneity. Yeah, if you're this person who loves spontaneity, you just hate following traditions, routines. I have to wake up at this time, I have to have taken breakfast by 7:30. To them, it's boring and it irritates them to the maximum. So those are sanguines, I think. And there are so many other things about sanguines.
But we have an idea at least of who a sanguine is.
Yeah.
Let's move to now phlegmatic.
Mm-hmm.
Who are these? First of all, where does this one fall? Introvert, or this one is an introvert, right?
This is more of an introvert.
Yeah,
if you're phlegmatic, I'd consider you an introvert. These are relaxed and quiet. Mm-hmm. People ranging from being warmly attentive to lazily. sluggish. Lilian nacheki unaniangalia, I don't know if you if you're phlegmatic or you have an issue with the word lazy.
I have an issue with the word lazy. We're not lazy.
Yeah, apparently phlegmatic tend to be easygoing, apparently. They're contented with themselves, they're calm, they're cool, they're collected, they can easily tolerate others. They're very well balanced, they're sympathetic, they're kind, all those personalities.
Basically who you need in the world.
Maybe. I think we need all of us in the world. Yeah.
Yes, I'm saying who you need in the world because they're very much into charity and helping others. And so their ideal careers are nursing, teaching, psychology or counseling, child development, social services. Don't you need these ones?
We do. Apparently, they are very fearful. They are indecisive. And they're very insistent in things in life. So that's another issue. Yeah. So we sometimes don't like people who are indecisive. I mean, if you're a leader, we want you to be very fast in making decisions and move to the next level. So that is just one about phlegmats.
And it's true. But you see, every the way we say it, every personality has its own weakness. Because a sanguine might make a decision faster, but doesn't mean it's the right one. You might need to come back and count your losses later.
Yeah.
So every personality, as we say, it has its own strengths and weaknesses. A phlegmatic may take time to make a decision, but in the end, it will be the best decision that they need to make.
Yeah, the other thing is they are very, I call them reserved or traditional. They don't change. They love tradition. You know, the same way we have said sanguines hate culture, like they know.
But I feel like that is more melancholy. But melancholy and phlegmatic are almost the same.
Yeah, so phlegmats, they resist change quite often. You know, the way when COVID came, if you are to compare sanguine and a phlegmatic person, a phlegmatic person was like, COVID will end tomorrow, I'll go back to my life and all that. But a sanguine had moved on with life.
Yes, so like where are the masks and the sanitizers? We are ready to go. Give me the vaccine.
Give me the vaccine. But phlegmatics are like, no, we can't take vaccines. We don't need to go there. Things will be better.
Things will end. Just give it a week.
Give it a week. They're like, we can't change what we used to do. Yeah, and sometimes it can be very difficult for them to even move out of a relationship, for example, that is sometimes toxic. Because they're like, we can still hold on. I believe phlegmats are very family persons. They're these people who want to embrace the whole family. They want to handle issues with calmness. They believe there are solutions to it. So yeah, those are flags.
Okay, let's move on to the cholerics. This one is an extrovert.
Yeah.
So the cholerics are very savvy, analytical, and logical, extremely practical and straight to the forward. They aren't necessarily good companions. Why? Is this what the character development is?
They
aren't necessarily good companions or particularly friendly.
Yeah, what I know is, probably. And they're natural leaders, I'm told. They are leaders. They are doers. If you have them in your group and the sanguines and the flags of Okujan have beautiful ideas on how they can execute things, they'll be listening and they'll be like, the next minute they're executing it.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think hawa ndio watu wa KICD, Kenya Institute of Character Development.
Yeah, because they are not necessarily good companions or particularly friendly.
Yeah.
Where? Yeah, but we like them because they're leaders.
Yeah, I'm told they're very charismatic. They make good political and military officers, figures. So yeah.
But there's also something else interesting that I'm seeing, that they dislike small talks, despite them being extroverted. They dislike small talks and they enjoy deep and meaningful conversation. They would rather be alone than in the company of shallow, superficial people.
Interesting. I'm told that they have little respect for certifications. The diplomas, the degrees. I mean, it's not a big thing for them.
What do they want?
There are people who they just want to, there are people who believe, I think they believe any way can be right way. you know, and they always want to be above everything. In fact, if you happen
so the kind of people who don't want to be defined by anything.
No, in any conversation, or if it happens that we are here and there's a choleric, they'll want to run the conversation. If they feel like you are another person who is trying to bring a different conversation and people are attracted to you, they will either move to a different room.
So they like attention.
Yeah, they love attention. It is either you will be attracted to what they're saying or they will walk out of that room.
But this sounds like a personality I can attach to a disorder. I don't want to do that right now. Listen to their careers: management, technology, statistics, engineering, programming, business.
And there are people who don't really relate much with emotions. They work with
exactly. I told you I wanted to relate to it with a certain disorder, but no, we shall not.
I know. In fact, if in the event there's an argument and it happens that your feelings are hurt, they feel like it's your problem, not theirs.
That is
up to you. It is none of your business.
That is your mess to handle.
Yeah, because they're always right. They're bossy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But we love them. We love them because they're leaders. But it also looks like a personality that is not very blending with like people. This kind of people look like they rub people the wrong way.
Yeah.
So if this is you might need to do some internal work to see how you can. Because also these personalities are not cast on stone. There are things you can change. So there are aspects, yes, you can't change, but there are little aspects that you can work on to make sure that you are not leaving a bitter taste in people's mouths.
Other interesting thing about them, I need to mention this, is they are highly independent and they're self-sufficient people. The trouble is they don't have so many friends, though they desire to have a lot of friends.
How will you have friends and you're not friendly?
They just desire. They're not friendly because that is just them.
That is just them.
And the sad
I am of the gospel. They can work on that. Personalities can change.
Yeah, they don't trust easily. They will rather do their own research to believe in something than you telling them. They hardly believe people. It is upon them to do their own investigations. And this has to be backed with logic reasoning. It has nothing to do with emotions.
Logic is very important for a choleric.
Yeah.
You have to really approach them with logic. Everything else is just the way some politicians said, karata ya casino, or what did they say? Yeah, everything else is just everything else. You really have to.
And we have to mention this. For cholerics, they easily attract other personalities such as phlegmats. Phlegmats are people who we say they're very quiet, relaxed, easygoing. So for a choleric who is bossy, it is easier to attract somebody who is quiet, and they love them. They are more of their prey, for lack of a better word. They're their prey because they can listen, they can accommodate.
They can be controlled.
They can be controlled. Somehow they can be manipulated.
True.
So yeah, it is difficult for a choleric to be in a space where there's another choleric. Because they feel like somebody's a bossy, somebody's ahead of them, and they don't enjoy such kind of a world.
Okay, let's move on to the last one.
Yeah.
Who is a melancholic? Melancholic is an introverted person, and these are your people for traditions. Yeah.
These are people who abide by the traditions.
Yeah.
We consider them introverted.
Yeah, they're introverted, but interestingly, they're very social and seek to contribute to their community. They are very thorough and accurate. They are fantastic managers with good personalities. I don't know what good personalities mean, but some of their careers can be management, accounting, social work, and administration. I think because they're thorough and accurate.
Some would say they are creative because they're deep thinkers, and sometimes people consider them to easily get into art world, music, artistry, talents, creative. Those are kind of also careers they can be considered. Yeah, I'm told that they take life very seriously. Sometimes too much. of it. They can be in the world of thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm in that category.
Yes, because you see, a thinker, most of the time, most of the things that I've seen with thinkers are usually idealists. They believe that things should be a certain way, so they're always chasing a certain way, like the ideal world. That's why you'll find they're doing community work. They want to better the world. They want the world to be a certain way. Yeah, so it's easy for them to get lost in that kind of purpose of wanting to make the world ideal. Yes, or their lives ideal. Yeah, just a little bit of fun, a lot of work, things like that.
I agree. I think other things is they are in the category of perfectionists.
True.
Yeah.
I agree.
They want to do to their level best. The trouble is sometimes when they think about doing it to their perfect level is they end up not doing certain things. If you want to, for example, there's a job that has been advertised that some his friends or our friends believe that person is very qualified, they will get into deep thinking. They have not a certain paper, they have not done certain things for a particular, for a sanguine or for a choleric, they already believe they are qualified. Even if they have nothing.
Yeah, but for a melancholy, they're like, I need to prove. I need to have my degree, I need to have my master's, I need to have done X number of short courses, and I need to have 10 years experience for me to present myself for this.
A choleric with the class 8 certificate.
Be like, bring it on. I can do it.
And you confidently talk to the panelists and tell them he's qualified for that job.
Yeah.
And they're super confident. So the trouble with of course, our world where the melancholics are, they are very judging. One other thing we need to really appreciate melancholics is they're extremely loyal in friendship. Super loyal. If you want to depend on somebody or somebody you can keep secrets, look for somebody who is a melancholic. You'll have the best. They're very introspective and hold themselves in a very high standard, one that can rarely be achieved. Very true. Introspective, I believe, in the world where they can judge themselves too much.
Yeah, the judgment.
They expect themselves to have certain degrees or certain achievement that sometimes it is unreaching, far and unreaching.
Yeah,
unrealistic, for lack of a better word. They possess a deep sense of what others are feeling or expressing, and the inward need to reach out and do something in order to help them. The trouble with melancholics, they can easily be manipulated. The fact that they are always there for others.
Yeah.
You
like
want
that
to.
They're some sort of savior.
They are saviors, So sometimes when you're a savior, your happiness is dependent on the other party. So in such a world,
I wouldn't say happiness, but you
satisfaction,
find fulfillment in lending a helping hand. So sometimes people can use that against you by needing help that they don't need because they know you will offer it. So it can be emotional help, financial help, but they know this one will come through because he or she likes to help. So I wouldn't say happiness, but if it's happiness, then it's not a personality issue, it's your own internal.
I wanted to come up with the aspect of, from at least research, most melancholics are, or sometimes fall to become people pleasers because they're easily attracted to the need, to the values, to the qualities of others more than them. I think I've said they are very introspective. They, judge themselves harshly sometimes, so they can easily fall into that. Again, most melancholics have a low self-image. Sadly, are inclined towards depression, think self-promotion is tacky, and are continually into fixing themselves, and notoriously guilty. Quote unquote, they are always fixing themselves, There are people or some of us who are always fixing ourselves. And I know some of us are victims. Always busy fixing yourself. Somebody's like, why are you not dating? I'm fixing myself.
Self-improvement is a lifelong pursuit.
But sometimes it denies you the power to enjoy life with others, because you're always self-judging. But apparently these people believe in others. For some reasons, in as much as they judge themselves, they just believe in others. They're just loyal. They see, sometimes even if you harm them, it's very possible for them to even feel like there are more powers beyond you that made you wrong us. It was not out of you that you are wronging me,
Maybe there's something I did.
There's something I did, they start to judge. Like, I think sometimes it's my behavior that makes you do this, So, it is also important to let our listeners know these personalities cut cross. It's not a matter of sanguine to be just sanguine.
Yeah.
You can be you can
be a sanguine melancholy.
Yes.
Imagine a sanguine phlegmatic.
Yeah, sanguine phlegmatic.
Choleric melancholy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can cut across.
So Lillian, I don't know which one you fall under.
The last time I checked, I was phlegmatic melancholy.
I think I am melancholic and some aspect of choleric. Yeah, I wouldn't want to
for character development. I see.
Though I wouldn't want to take every aspect of
no, yeah, there's no. Actually, even when you do this personality test, there's always a percentage. It's not that it comes 100% sanguine, 100% phlegmatic. So there's like maybe huge parts that you identify with as a choleric. So it's okay. Even for me, what you've described in the melancholy department, it's some of it yes, some of it no. So I think it's like that for everyone.
Yeah.
And the way we said that these things have their own strengths and weaknesses. And once the reason why you need to know these things, it's because I did my first personality test a long time ago.
Yeah.
And what that did for me is to help me identify aspects about my personality that I don't like, and start to work on that, because it's important. It's important for you to do what? To know these things for the purpose of growth. Yeah.
I completely agree. Just to let our listeners know, we are discussing the 4 human temperaments. At least this is according to Dr. D.W. Eckrust. I think I've pronounced it rightly. So these temperaments will help you know why you have been attracting certain people in life. They will help you know why you've been behaving the way you've been behaving in life, and maybe areas you need to put a lot of strength. Sometimes, I think according to me, you don't really need to put so much effort in weaknesses, especially weaknesses that you feel are beyond you in some way. You need to put a lot of effort with your strengths,
and see how to make the strengths work for you.
Yeah, how to capitalize on them, So I believe to our listeners, this episode will help you do some introspection,
True, and it's important for you to also just go and do your research, like go and read more about this phlegmatic, melancholy, sanguine, and what's the other one? Choleric. Go and read it for yourself and understand. And also just don't depend on this one. You can also go and do 16 personalities and see whether you are
the Myers personality type. The 16.
Yeah, go and do 16 personalities, get to know which one are you, and then that will help you to understand. In fact, I really like the 16 personalities one, because it gives you a detail. It gives you a detailed analysis of who you are as a person, in a relationship, at work, in a friendship, all areas of your life. It gives you your strengths and weaknesses as a person, and it can help you improve yourself as a person. So, because these things, our personalities affect us. They affect us in relationships. They affect us in our workplaces. Because you can imagine you being a melancholy at work. See, job description yako ina change to kila siku, because people feel like they can add on to your work every single time, because you won't say anything, you will just deliver. And imagine you're a melancholy who is, for example, with a choleric. There can be a mismatch there, because you might be a victim of so many things, and you might not know what to do. So it's important. And imagine being in a relationship. It's crazy. So the reason why we're doing this episode is just to help you understand the importance of personality in your life, and also in turn to your mental health, because if you don't understand yourself, it's very hard that you will be able to know what the problem is and how to approach it and how to solve it. Yes.
Yeah, I think from my end, I'm done.
Or not Derek anymore?
I am DMW. Yeah.
And you're done.
Yeah.
And you're checking out.
Locally accepted, internationally recognized. Yeah.
Okay. For me, I'd say parting shot is my passion. What am I saying? My parting shot would be that our personalities are important. Our personalities can evolve. And understanding our personalities and understanding the personalities of others is key to our wellness, because it helps you to move with information, with recognition, and rather than being in the dark, just saying mi nakuanga hivyo ama yeye anakuanga hivyo. Just some of these things that we normalize are just things that are toxic.
Yeah.
That's the way they are. This is how I am. Well, some of these things can be worked on, and some of these things you can say no to. There's nothing like people being toxic to you and then you're saying ati anakuanga hivyo. Why can't they work on them?
Yeah.
I'm just, if you tell somebody I can't take this, imagine they will change. They will
Absolutely.
They will move with caution and try to do what is right by you.
This is a message to introverts and to also melancholics who sometimes easily keep quiet when certain things irritate them, but they just don't know how to let it out.
True.
So if you are in a category where sometimes you feel like you don't know how to let out, I sometimes suffered on the same. I am in meetings where I feel like I'm drained and I've switched off. I go home, I have migraine and all that. Not that I have migraine because of the meeting, but because the lengthier the meeting, especially where there are people, I get lost. I feel drained. I just need even longer time to recharge. So it is important to let your friends know sometimes when things get too long, you can be allowed to excuse yourself to recharge. Yeah, sometimes there are spaces where meetings happen most of the time, or sometimes you are required to be in so much engaged activities with other people, and it's really draining you. And if it's draining you, sometimes you can easily term that space as toxic.
True.
But things can be worked around. Yeah.
I agree. So get to identify what are the weaknesses of your specific personality, because even sanguines have their own weaknesses and choleric have their own weaknesses. Identify the strengths and the weaknesses after, of course, you do the test.
Yeah.
Yeah, after, of course, you do the test, and it will give you a bit of guidance. But this is not like the alpha and omega. It is just something that can help you get a little bit of understanding. But now, I wouldn't want to put this as your identity. You see the way people introduce themselves.
Yeah.
My name is na, I'm a phlegmatic.
What we said earlier, and I think we're very clear, is some of these personality types have some aspect of biologically you're born with it, the values you acquire in life, and the interactions. For example, I think some time back I was more of melancholic and phlegmatic, but with time, with exposure and self-introspection and trying to define my self-image, I've realized I was phlegmatic because of people who are defining me to be that way. With time, when you start understanding yourself, you realize you're not introverted. It is people who forced you to keep quiet. You cannot forever be somebody who you are not. It gets to a point where you blow out and you become who you are created to be. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening to this end. And we are hoping that this has been a helpful episode. If it has, please share it with your friends, share with your people, and also give us feedback. Give us feedback on the episode. Give us feedback on what you would want us to talk about in the coming episodes. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Or whenever you listen to this. Bye.